and you are welcome to today's webinar. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are connected from, and I trust that you are doing very excellently well and fine, and I welcome you warmly to today's webinar. And our topic for today is build the bonds now or break the silence later. And my name is Pastor Biola Akiyelu, and I will be your host today from the Wise Wife Academy. And the goal for our class for today is to inspire you, to equip you, as a parent, as a guardian, as a teacher, to build intentional connection with your children or the children that are in your sphere of contact before it is too late. Because the windows won't stay opened forever. So every second count, every time count, everything that you are doing count, especially if you have children between the ages 0 to 12 years old. Everything that you're doing counts, all right? And one of the things that I like to tell parents is that your child's current behavior is as a result of your parenting report card. So what is your parenting report card saying? What is your parenting report card? What is it saying? What are people seeing? How are they marking you, with how you are raising your kids? And one of the things you need to understand is that you are raising a generation, and your sitting room, your bedroom, your living room is too small to raise a king that is going to reign, over people. So you need to understand that beyond the fact that, yes, somebody is telling you to do this, somebody is telling you to do this, is telling you to do that, and wants you to be an effective parent, beyond the fact that somebody is telling you to do all of that stuff, what is the far-reaching impact of this thing that we have asked you to do? What do you think the far-reaching impact is? If you only knew that child that you have with you is going to be somebody else's wife, going to be somebody else's husband, going to be somebody else's niece, going to be somebody else's uncle, going to be somebody else, what would you do about it? What are you going to do differently? How are you going to ensure that this child gets the best of what this child is supposed to get, so that they can fit in and be that child that is going to answer the call, to mankind, to what mankind wants to do, to solve the problem, to be an innovator, to be a creator. You might just be wondering, all of this from connection? Oh yes, from connection. All of this from connection, right? So what the potential of that child, how that child is going to end up, is dependent on you. And not just dependent on you because you want to parent the same way you were parented. No, by being very, 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 very intentional with all your parenting tools, with all your parenting strategy. And one very important tool, yes, in your toolbox of parenting is connection. Let me say that again. One very important tool in your toolbox of parenting is connection. What are your actions today that are lining up to help this child get to his full potential and where this child is going to get to? One of the things you have to do is that you have to quit outsourcing parenting, stop commercializing your parenting. Yes, you can have XYZ number of people around. The child goes to school from 7 to probably 4, 5, 6, he's back, and when the child comes back home, you're on the device, you're like, oh, go play with your tab, watch something on the screen or something, and you expect that child to turn out the way that child is supposed to turn out. It's not going to work, and whatever you sow is what you are going to reap. If you sow a seed of disconnection, you are going to reap a seed of disconnection. But the child is approaching 18, that child is already ready, looking forward to leaving your home. Why? Because you were never there. So what if I told you that the most important thing you can give to your child right now is not money, is not, you know, rules. Hey, you must do this, you must do that. It's not even dreams. It's not even dreams. But what? Your presence. Not present. Presence. Your presence, and you need to understand that the windows would not be opened forever. So at every window, at every opportunity in time, what are you doing on your parenting journey? What are you going to be doing? Because there is a time in every child's life when they are listening, when they are watching, and when they even need you the most. Are you there? When I wake up in the morning and I'm getting ready for work, my kids are like, "Oh, mom, do you have to go to work?" I say, "Oh, yes, somebody has to go to work." It makes me understand the power of connection, why they always want to, have me around or have their dad around, stuff like that. I remember today, my daughter, I was doing some things, I was quite a little bit busy, and my daughter said, "Oh, mom, I want to make an airplane, with a paper." And I'm like, wow, that's a connection time. So I said, "Okay, can you give me some few minutes?" Or so she did. So we got a paper. I didn't even, I couldn't remember how to make paper with this. So we went online, we watched a few videos, and voila, we were able to do it. And we're flying our airplanes around the house. We're flying our airplanes around the house. Yes, it might look that, simple, but there was a connection there. And when the dad came back home, and she was like, "Oh, dad, I made an airplane," and dad's like, "Where is the airplane?" So she brought them out, and dad like, "Wow, let's fly it together." And, he threw that, and of course they had a nice time, flying there. As little as that is connection, right, for your children. You don't want to miss the time. I remember my mom, one of the stories she told us growing up was how she didn't move on with technology. She used to be a very good, typist using the typewriter, but when the computer came, she didn't move. She just felt, oh, it's going to fade away, but he never did. He took over the world, and look at where we are today. So sometimes when she's telling me, "Oh, help me check my device, help me do this, help me do that," I'm like, "Oh, mom, oh, mom." Now imagine at the point she moved on with computers. Imagine how that would have even affected our own lives. Imagine how that's going to affect our lives and the kind of progress it's going to help us to make, because somebody moved with the time. You don't prepare a child for your own world, you prepare them for the world that they are going into. Yes, there is season, there is time. You need to know the season and the time. Just like the Bible lets us know about the sons of Issachar. They knew the season and they knew the times. All right. So you need to be very intentional. You need to move. You need to connect. You need to have your connection. Right? One very important. There are many tools in your toolbox that you need in your parenting journey, but you see, connection, that's the glue that helps you get all the other stuff together. And of course, we have patience, you have your emotional intelligence, you have your self-control, and you have all of that stuff. But you see, connection, that is a tool that glues everything together for you. And you might want to ask, my parents didn't do that, they ensured you did, and we turned out okay. Yeah, you turned out okay, but with a lot of trauma, with a lack of self-confidence, with a lack of indiscipline. You turned out okay. They raised their hand and you are responding, you're like trying to shield yourself. That's fear based on forced obedience. Of course, that's another discussion for another, and that is under discipline. All right. So children don't just need our provision, they need our presence. You might be saying, after all, I give this child everything you need. Sometimes you can give so much and you are even jealous of the child, and you'll be saying things like, in my own time, did he even give me this? I trekked to school, I did XYZ, I did. So they need your presence. You just might be surprised how little that your presence can help them make so much progress. And you can even be asking, I'm very, very busy. I'm traveling here, I'm traveling there, I'm traveling. If you don't make up your mind to be present and help them to connect now, well, you'll be invited to the consequence, and the consequence can be very embarrassing. So make your choice. Is that how you do it now, or you do it later? Either way, you are going to pay the price. Choose you this day. The price you want to pay. So many problems we face with things start with disconnection. Disconnected childhood, right? So you want to buy into that connection. Now, the connection does not mean, you run everything for your child. No, everything counts. I remember a few days ago, my kids, their bicycle, the tire was a little bit flat, so that their dad had told us to, take it somewhere and, get it inflated. So, I put the bike in the car, and we went to the organizer. So when we got there, and my daughter was in the car, so I said, come down, let's see how this thing works. How do they inflate a tire? How does this work? So she came down and she saw the whole process. So when we're done, I was like, pick your bicycle and put it in the car. And she was like, Mom. I said, yeah, it's your bicycle, so pick it and put it in the car. So I said, and she was like, I said, okay, don't worry, we're going to do it together. And what did I do? I just literally opened the door of the car for her, and I'm like, all right, so you can put it in. And when she did put in the car, the bicycle in the car, she was super proud of herself, like, I did this. And guess what, when we got home, I'm like, since you did it the other time, then you can bring the bicycle out. And guess what, I'm here to help you. I held the door for her again, and she was able to bring the bicycle down. Part of the things that helps you with your connection is that don't do for your children the things that they can do for themselves. Don't do it for them. And you might be saying, they are going to slow me down. Well, that's the point, really. Sometimes you just need to slow down. So you want to lay a good foundation so that when your kids are teenagers, they will still need to hear your voice, because your voice is a very strong voice of direction for your children. You understand? Very, very strong directions. And of course, the Bible lets us know in Proverbs chapter 22 verse 6 NIV, it says, start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. All right? Start them off. And Deuteronomy chapter 6:6-7 NIV again also lets us know, it says, impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and you walk along the road. Connection. You have to be able to build connection. When your children don't feel like doing something, you can say, we can do it together. Don't worry. And you start it off and you're like, yeah, you can finish it now. All right. So number 2 thing that on this road of connection is the window of opportunity. Connection is the window of opportunity. Every child has a window of openness when they want to hear your voice, trust your heart, and believe in your guidance. And when you've not been there, that's why we have quite a lot of children on social media now that whenever they have a problem, they rather talk to TikTok or talk to Instagram or talk to these rants rather than talking to maybe their parent or the voice of direction. All right. So every child has a window of openness, and like I just told you, from 0 to 12, that's a window. That's a window. So the moment they're formed, you have a lot of repairing to do. So good preparation prevents poor performance. So every child has a window of openness when they want to hear your voice, trust your heart, and believe in your guidance. And time doesn't shout, it moves. As I'm talking to you, time is moving. You won't even know that we spent quite some time, talking about this issue, right? Because time doesn't shout, it moves quietly. And then suddenly you realize, boom, you're not listening anymore. Time happens. All right. So You can give yourself all the excuses and say, oh, I'm a very, very busy person. I told you earlier on, you make your choice. Being busy is a choice, right? And you need to understand that being a parent is also a ministry that God has committed to your trust. So how well are you going to function in this ministry that has been committed to your trust? This is a pass mark for you on your parenting journey, even in your ministry, right? Parenting. So if you delay connection, we may only be invited to the consequences and not the conversation. Let me say that again. If we delay connection, we may only be invited into the consequences and not the conversation. That means, whatever the situation presents itself, that's what you're going to be invited to. And sometimes it ends up being shameful, and you don't want that. So connection is super important. From waking up to going to bed, connection is super, super, super important. Sometimes for me, for connection, I just tell my kids, I drop my devices, drop my gadgets, everything, and I'm like, oh, let's take a walk. See, we're working hand in hand, and we take a walk, few blocks, and we'll come back. And I'm like, even connecting with your children can even help you decompress, right? It can help you decompress, it can help you calm down. Sometimes for our connection, I could just say, oh, let's go to our little garden where we have some kind of vegetables, and we're wetting it, and I'm explaining to them, oh, this is this, oh, this is this, oh, this is this, oh, this is this, as little as that. So connection is not all about, oh, we're going to amusement park, we are doing this, no. They are in those little things that you do with your kids every now and then. So one of the action point I want you to take after these classes, at the end of this class, draft out a calendar. You can pick up a calendar online that is editable. Draft it, look at things, simple things that you can do with your children every day, and write it in that calendar, print it out, put it out behind the door, and you can, of course, run through it. It can be as little as writing a love letter to your daughter and say, oh, I love you so much. There was a time, I think last 2 months ago, we wrote a letter to our daughter and our son. And when we were reading, they were all, especially my daughter was all sheepy, and she was like, oh, and I'm like, what does she even know? She felt, elated going to school that morning as she read that letter. And guess what? By the time I came back from work, she already wrote her own letter. And she said, I love you, Mom, Dad, and Jed. I love you so much. As rumpled as that thing looked, I picked that paper and said, oh, thank you so much, Christine. This means a lot to me. And I put it by my office side, my table. And from time to time, I look at it and I smile. You see, that connection. It brings her to my mind and my heart. So I don't have to wait till I get home to be able to connect with her. Once I see that letter, and I'm monitoring, so once they come back from school, I can call their caregiver and like, oh, they're back from school, can I speak with them? And I'm like, oh, yeah. Then probably I'm going to be running late. I also call and I'm like, oh, sorry, I just had 1 or 2 things to do and I'm going to be running late. Why? So that when that child is 18, that child can let me know when they are going to be running late. I'm sorry they sit here, come on. And I remember I had to fix up something at a friend's place around our area, and it totally skipped my mind to call. So by the time I got home, I found out that she was all, if I should told my mom was with us at that time. So she told my mom to call me, like she wants to talk to me. When my son took the phone, and she said, Mom, I want you to come home now. Like, okay. My son was like, oh, I was like, okay. He said, Mom, I want you to come home now. I was like, oh. So after dinner, I sat them down and I had to apologize. I said, I'm so sorry that I didn't let you know. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, do you forgive me? And she said, it's okay, Mom. And that was just the end of it. Such that you're also teaching them forgiveness. All right. So Look at your environment. What are the things? You can go online, you can do researches. I want to connect with my XYZ age. What can I do every day to connect with this child? What can I do every day to connect with this child? So parenting is not all about rules, and people begin to walk on eggshells around you. No, that's not what it is, you know. And Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 says that there is time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. So scheduling, you need to be able to schedule so that you have things in the right place, helping you to achieve the things that you want to achieve. Schedule it. Look at your 24 hours. How much hour do you spend at work? How much hour do you spend? And when you get home, how much, do you spend with them? And when you are there, be present. Don't be there, be playing with it and be calculating in your mind. No, be present so that they can get the best out of you. And what happens if you wait too long? What happens if you wait too long? I remember the story of Eli, the priest, and that's in 1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 3. Quite a godly man, but it wasn't really there for his kids. It wasn't. Such that, in fact, when I read that part of the Bible and how the children died, the generation, everything, just when I'm like, oh wow. So connection is very, very, very important. Don't outsource parenting. Every day I tell myself, I'm not going to outsource this parent. This is one job that God gave me to do. Yes, things can be hard, this can be this, but I'm not. I try my best. I fight it. I put in some kind of structure that helped me reduce to the barest minimum outsourcing, my parenting. Okay, so your spirit, you need to also understand. Probably you're a pastor, or somebody in that ministerial office, and you think that your spiritual title is going to protect your children. Let me bust your bubble. God does not parent children. God does not parent children. He only protects them. And the day you understand that you are a co-creator with God, right, you begin to, put in those measures and put in those structure to ensure that you deliver that child, that is going to affect and influence their world. Alright, so many teens rebel because their relationship was neglected, not because they were bad kids, but it was neglected. Not because they were bad kids, right? Our parents, we just focused on making money. Now the money is there, but the kids are gone. Spending that money on the children in rehabilitation because they've been on drugs while you are not there. Do you understand? So, Proverbs chapter 29, verse 15, NIV says, a child left undisciplined disgraces its mother. How amazing how the Bible says mother, not even the family. So, as a wise wife, you've got work to do. All right, you've got work to do. And discipline, like I always like to tell us, is that discipline is not an emergency. It's not what you do right there when the child is doing that thing. There are things that you have put in place to ensure that that child doesn't go in that direction. A few days ago, I was at a dining. I was, trying to put some things together, and my son was also eating, and his hand slipped, and his water poured on my mobile device, and of course, mobile device went off and stuff, and he started crying, and I'm like, okay, why are you crying? Of course, that's his way of expressing his emotion, so I allowed him. So when it was done, I said, I see that you are crying, but I should be the one that is upset because you poured water on my device and, it's damaged, And the moment I said that, he stopped crying. I said, yeah, but the other version of me would have probably spanked his, blah, 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 blah. And while I was in that, I said it from a position of calmness and peace. Right, he poured water. It's just a mobile device. Am I saying that my son is now, the mobile device is now more important than my son, that I begin to hit him and break his head? I put it under control, and I asked myself a question. Was I supposed to be using my device on the dining? It wasn't supposed to be there. So if I put in my own measures, I probably will not, be in that shoe. So sometimes we are very quick to hit on the child, forgetting that we have a role. So you ask yourself a question before you hit the child. What are the systems that I've put in place to ensure that this child does not do XYZ? Right? If you can't find any, then we should hold you responsible. you know. So you might be asking yourself a question. So what can I do today? How can I, close the gap? How can I do this? You have to start small, little baby step. Don't want to function like that. You carry your baby steps. Be intentional. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. Parenting is not about perfection. It is about presence. All right. And even if you use all the wrong means, you do this, you do that, hit a child, the wrong route does not lead to the right destination. Right, like I just said earlier on, what are the structures that you have put in place to ensure that this child is not going to go off tangent? All right, you say, I've been telling him, keep telling them. That's what the Bible tells us to do. Keep doing it. Like my man of God will say, keep saying it. Don't stop talking it. That's Reverend Dr. Chris Kilome. He'll say, keep saying it, don't stop. So mightily grew the word of God in Ephesus and prevailed. So mightily grew the word of God in Ephesus and prevailed. And if the clouds be full of rain, they empty themselves upon the face of the earth. So you want to ask yourself that question. You have to keep doing it. We read a scripture earlier on in Deuteronomy that says that Deuteronomy 6:6-7. Impress them on your child, indoctrinate them, talk about them when you sit at home, when you walk along the road, impress it. Now, I know quite a lot of African parents will come from the abusive. I cannot hit you, but by the time they hit you with words, even the child cannot recover from the impact of the verbal abuse. The verbal abuse is even much more than the punishment or than the hitting of cane and all that stuff. So you want to say it in a manner that child will always want to run to you, to listen to you. And children can test your boundaries. That thing you are telling them to do, as you are saying it, they are hearing the opposite. But you just have to keep saying it. All right. Keep saying it. So we said it's about being intentional. It's not about perfection. It's about your presence. So simple ideas for your connection. You can have family cooking night. You can have bedtime devotional. You can have dance off. You can have storytelling. You can have journaling with your child. We do journaling every day. We have to journal and write. The things that happen. It might just not even be so much. It might just be a line or two. But we journal. I remember during Christmas we had one amazing. We didn't go out like that, but the kind of fun we had in our sitting room. In fact, there was one Christmas light party that we saw online, on YouTube, and it was like for 45 minutes, but very captivating. 30 minutes, very captivating. We danced, we moved, we did. We had each of the our kids come up, show us a dance step, and we followed, and we did all of that. And at the end of the day, we had a very beautiful laugh. I mean, zero expense. What that cost us was just our data. So you have to find out things that are around you, and be a part of your child's life. And let them see you trying. Okay, your effort speaks louder than your words. Let them see you making an effort. Let them see you trying. Let them see you doing it. All right. Yes. So one other action point from this point is that don't just get inspired. Don't just get motivated that yes, as she's speaking now, what am I going to be doing? No, motivation can be a trap. Right? Yes, motivation can be a trap. So what if you are not hearing my voice tomorrow? What is going to keep you going? What's that engine that's going to keep you going? Yes, that is where self-discipline comes in. Where you have to finish what you started. Finish it. Growing up, I wasn't much of a good finisher. I wasn't even a good finisher. So by the time I started parenting, I could see where the cracks were because I didn't know how to finish things. So I had to learn it. I had to imbibe it. If I started it, I'm going to finish it. That's one of our slogans in the house. If you start it, you must finish it. You start a race, you must finish it. You win, you don't win, whatever happens, you must finish that race. All right. So yes. So the final call, to our class for today is that you don't have to be a perfect parent, but just be a present one. Okay? Just be a present parent. And of course, we have our the Wise Wife Academy, where we help wives become the better version of themselves. I'm sure if you check the description of this video, you would see our details. You can buzz up or be a part of the community so that you can even get much more. What we do is more than this webinar. You can get much more and be on your way to a better wife. And even if you're a husband listening to this video, register someone, get a wife to come in and be a part of what we're doing. You need to understand that your community is bigger than your value system. People that you have in your community will help you get to where you are going to on time, or either slow you down. All right, so have the right kind of people in your community that will help you get to your destination, help you get to your journey, and help you be a better parent. Yes, so we close our class for today with this scripture, Malachi 4 verse 6, and it says, "It will turn the heart of the parents to their children, and the heart of the children to their parents." And of course, all of that happens with, with connection. One of the things you need to tell yourself the truth sometimes, wake up and smell the coffee. Right? Smell the coffee. Wake up and smell it and say, "Oh, this coffee feels good." Wake up. What do you want your report card to be in your parenting journey? You have to determine it now. And how do you do it? I said it. Your key tool is connection. Yes, excuses are cheap, very, very cheap. You can find them everywhere. And one of my very amazing mentor and coach will let us know that excuses are cheap. Those who make them are not wise. So commitment is what builds trust. Your child doesn't just have to hear your words. They watch your actions. They see what you do. They see how you do what you do, and they emulate you. So children are good photocopy machine. A good photocopy machine, very good one. They will do what they see you do. All right. So even if you don't get it right, let them see you try. Even if you don't get it right, let them see you try. Parenting is a whole lot. It's a whole lot. It's beyond having to run after children to pick up stuff. It's beyond all of that. Parenting is serious business. It's a whole lot. It's a skill. Is an educational system that once you get in, you just have to keep upgrading yourself. And I like to say that on your parenting journey, of course, you need to seek knowledge, you need to read books, you need to take classes, because you want to know. You don't want to miss a step, because missing a step is a child missing a destiny. And as a parent, you are like that sieve. If you live in this part of the world where I live, which is Africa, where we make pap, you see that sieve, that is a final process to help that pap be that pap that you want to take without shaft. If that sieve is porous, there's going to be a lot of shaft in the pap. So let me ask you a question. How porous are you? Are you porous? Very porous? Not even porous? Close porous? How porous are you? All right. Tighten up your loose guard. Look for the loopholes. Fix the broken net. Bind all of that, and tell yourself that I am intentional. Every day you wake up, pick up your bag and start running. Your kids might be teenagers, and you're listening to me now and you're wondering, where do I start off from? Pick your bags and start running. Start running. Yeah? Start it. Start running. Because parenting is not about perfection. It is about presence. If you wait too long to be present, like I said earlier on, you may only be invited to the consequences and not the conversation. So You might be saying, wait for the right time. Now is the right time. The best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The next best time is now. So your child is not just a version of you. They are called to be the best version of who God has called them to be. And my charge to you today is that, would you let them be that version? Or you will just let them be the regular kind of person that they want to be? It's up to you. The call is yours. Are you going to answer? Are you going to be intentional? Are you going to connect with your children? Or rather, you are looking for ways to set trap, for your children, all in the name of testing. I want to test him if he can steal. I want to test him. I want to help. No. You don't do all of that, right? You parent with purpose. You parent with passion. You parent with your presence. You parent with your connection. And with that, we are going to draw the curtain for today. Just in case you're not subscribed to this channel, hit the subscription button and be a part of the community. Like, share to all the people that are in your contact. Let them get this information. Yep, parenting begins with you. Say to yourself, parenting begins with me. And if you got to the end of this video, I want to know that you got to the end of this video. Put it in the comment section and say, parenting begins with me. Or rather, intentional parenting begins with me. So let's have you put that in the comment section, and other people that find this video might just be inspired with your comment, and of course want to take their intentional parenting to the next level. Don't forget to like and share the video, and also subscribe to our channel. Let all the parents find us. Of course, this classical class is not all for women alone. It's for parents, of some sort. Or you lead children, you're a Bible study class teacher, you're a children's church teacher, you are a parent, you are a minister, you are a pastor. This is for you. So until I come your way next week, we have an exclusive webinar you don't want to miss, and that is for the Wise Wives Academy. You don't want to miss it. I think the topic is marriage as a treasure or something like that. You don't want to miss it. Until I come your way,